Heyo, what's up all you beautiful others? Today I'm going to give you some advice on how to get better heroes than just luckily finding them. I'm going to try and give you some ideas as to who you want to go for first. Now the first place you want to try and go and get your hero is simply registering an account, registering an email with the game. It gives you a 5-star hero for free. And also, if you're in a new server, it gives you 2 heroes, I believe. It gives you Ice Blink and it gives you Heart Watcher for free just by leveling up, and that's by being active daily. And as you can see, there's still 419 hours to go, so quite at least 2 to 3 weeks I can easily get another 14 levels in that amount of time. And Heart Watcher is probably the best hero you can get for free from the game for boss damage. She uses her skill to boost the whole team's damage, and as you level her up, you get to that max cap earlier on. Because as you level her up, she increases the attack more as you level her up. She increases the attack more per round, I should say, to clarify. Now, I've written me down a list so I don't get too sidetracked, but I wanted to state that the three heroes I just did, because the game gives them to you for free. All you gotta do is play the game. After that, I have a few suggestions that are easier to get early game, and they're not bad to start out with. So, the first one I have written down here is this boy right here. This guy is Lutz. He is the face of Idle Heroes because you tap on him whenever you get into the game. He's not that great long term, but like I said, we're focusing on beginning of the game. You know, you just started, you're on a new server, you're level 1. What heroes do you want to go for that are going to be the best for you? His active skill has a chance to stun mages, and that's not super important for now, but I'll get to why that helps out later on. Not to mention that he has armor break, which is kind of like what Sigmund does, and Sigmund is a really good boss damage hero. He takes off armor from the boss damage, from the boss words. He takes armor off the boss, therefore your heroes do more damage. And if you grabbed Heart Watcher, you're doing more damage because of her. And with Sigmund, you are a replacement Sigmund. And with Lutz's passive, he increases the damage you do even more just by stripping some armor. And you can put a stone on him that will let you do even more armor break. And then this last passive here is basically after he gets to a certain HP. I'm sorry, that's 6-star. I am getting ahead of myself. But he still strips armor. And once you get him to 6-star, he will heal himself for 3 rounds after a certain event triggers. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I don't have a Lutz on this account, so I can't tell you for sure. But I do know that he does heal himself after doing so. Alright, after that, we have this guy here, OD01. This guy is really good in the sense that Norma, the hero that you get for free from the game just for registering an email account, does some... Where is it? He has a chance to silence priests for 3 rounds. And it's a pretty high chance at that. So you can stop Norma from healing for 3 rounds. And since most people try to get Norma early game because she's kind of a starter VESA, this is a really good hero to have. He stops priests from healing, and that's not just Norma, it's all priests. So say you want to take him a little further in the game, he has a chance to silence VESA and much more. Like if you happen to take him to endgame, he can silence Belrain even. and those heroes not getting off those actives are incredibly hindering to your opponent. After that, we have Queen. Queen has an interesting attribute to her. She really isn't all that great long term, but just starting out, if she's like one of your first heroes you pick up from the game, like heroic summons, prophet orbs, she counterattacks 100% of the time. So if you give her your best gear, she has more hit points, more damage, and she will attack every time she is attacked. So if you put her in the front line, she is always taking damage off of your opponent. Like I said, we're not focusing on end game. We're not really focusing on mid game. We're focusing right after you've just logged into the game for the first time or started a new server. This is the important parts. Getting a team that is decent enough to sustain you for the time being. And when I say early game and beginners, I would say the first 2 months. Because within 2 months, you can get a lot of progress. But within the first 2 months, you don't want to try and get the best heroes because you're not going to be able to build them to the point where they become useful as the best. Right now, you want to try and get heroes that are good for what you need. After that, after Queenie here, there's a hero that the game gives you for free. Granted, it takes some time, but you might get lucky and you might summon her in your heroic summons, prophet orbs, whatever. And that's Starlight. Starlight has a super nasty active skill where she deals 600% of attack shared by the surviving enemies. So if you get your opponent, let's say in arena, because you're trying to get yourself to the top, if your opponent has like 2 enemies left and Starlight gets her active skill off, she will deal 300% of her attack to each enemy. That is not counting if it crits. If it crits, it does that much more. Plus you can boost her crit damage, her crit chance. Starlight is a really helpful hero early on. Now, coming up next, come back over here to the Pokédex, as Wrath calls it. Wrong button. Come on now. We have Bade. Bade is a good hero that will take you a little further than the previous ones mentioned, but I wanted to bring him up anyway because he does drop more frequently than, say, Horus or Jara of the Shadow faction. Bade is a really good hero because he has chances to do 4 times damage or at least double damage. And whenever he does his active skill, he restores his hit points, health, whatever, by 20% of the damage dealt. So let's say you get the 4 times damage. He is going to heal himself by 20% of what he does. Granted, he can't crit all that well he can't crit on his active, but if he has that chance, which is basically a crit chance, this will heal him. That I'm not sure why that was such a strain to pull out. But on top of that, he does have more armor break. So if you can pair him with Lutz, that's that much more armor break. Also, whenever he dies, he increases his self of damage reduced for 1 round. And he restores his health by 100% of his attack. What that means is, basically, whenever someone dies on the other side of the field, I guess you'd call it. I've not heard it called anything, so we'll just call it the field. Whenever someone dies, for 1 round, he takes 10% less damage, and he heals himself. That's a really good. That's really a solid way to go. And then at the end of this, he hits the opponent with the lowest HP, and he has a chance to do 1.5 times more damage and 2.25 more damage. Now that on top of... I lost my train of thought. Anyway, basically, what I'm trying to say is Bait is probably the best of the heroes I've talked about so far because he'll take you further the best. Now, I did want to give you one more hero just for an option. Hit the wrong button again. And that's VESA. If you don't mind spending a little bit of money, VESA is a really solid option to buy, and you get her outright. There is no chance of getting her, you straight up get her. And when you get this character, hero, whatever, you get her skin, which gives her a little bit more HP and a chance to crit. That's cool and all, but you also get some solid gear which boosts everything a lot. And you see, like, just this suit gives her 14% HP on top of 7% when you have all four, and then 19% attack. And she heals based on her attack. And when you buy VESA, you get a orange artifact that gives her 15% damage reduced, and it boosts her HP. I cannot stress enough, if you want to get progress early and you don't mind spending, I think she's $30, this is the way to go. This is the way to get the most progress the fastest early game, because she heals herself and she heals the whole team. She heals the whole team every round. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah. Basically, on her active skill, she recovers all of her allies for 40% of her attack over 6 rounds. And if you can get off active skills every 2 rounds, I think it is, 2 or 3, that will stack. So for at least 1 round, you will get twice the healing. This is super helpful for your team. Now, I didn't really... Thank you. Thank you for helping me get this down. I appreciate the help. Now, if you want to try and go for an aura, I would suggest one of these two. And it is... Where am I at? It's Evil, which is 3 Shadow and 3 Abyss, which we've already talked about 2 Abyss. Talked about Queen, talked about Norma. If you wanted to go for a third, that really depends on you. Maybe you can get lucky and get somebody like a Dantalion, or somebody like a King Barton or Berea, who is awesome at boss damage. Or maybe you get super lucky and you get like a Cruz or a Scary, who is amazing at boss damage. And in the same team as the Evil Aura is Shadow. And we already talked about 2 Shadow, Lutz and Bade. If you wanted to throw a third in there, I would suggest early game, mind you, early game is Dominator. Because he restores himself, and when they block, he restores himself, and when he attacks, he restores himself. He's a self-healing tank. Now, if you buy VESA, which is one of your forest heroes, you will get him almost immediately, because he is a part of getting VIP 1. He is your first reward for getting VIP 1. We all know he's not a good hero, but if he's all you have, he's better than a 4-star equivalent of someone that does decent anything. He's 5-star, he can go longer. I wouldn't recommend building him past 6-star, because you can use him for food for your Bade, or if you get Horus or Jara. Hi, Jara. That's basically all I wanted to talk about. It's basically just what heroes you should try to go for and what auras you should try to shoot for. I didn't forget about talking about one more, and that's Pollution. That's 3 Forest and 3 Abyss. We already covered Abyss, let me talk about Forest real quick. If you're able to get VESA or, Oberon, because I pulled him from a free summon, it's not impossible, but it is unlikely. It can happen. You can also get someone like Gru, who also has Armor Break. He steals 21% of armor on his active skill. And whenever he's attacked, he takes their attack and he takes their crit chance. On top of that, he's just super tanky because he gets this armor buff and he has a chance to counter attack just like Queen. So if you have him and Queen on your front line, you have that much better of a chance to get some more damage in when it's not your quote-unquote turn to attack. And if you didn't buy VESA, like I said, you have a chance to get Oberon. You get Heart Watcher for free. And that's 3 right there: Gru, Oberon, and Heart Watcher. Those are pretty solid heroes starting out, and Oberon is amazing. But since we are trying to focus on beginning, I would try to recommend Starlight because you get it for free. Hi, Starlight. Heart Watcher because you get it for free. And if I had to throw a third one out there, it would be VESA because you can get her early on with no problem. Well, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed more advice and not so much action or events or whatever. Just basic advice that anybody can use. And I enjoy giving advice because I feel like if the players of the game know more about the game, they can make better decisions. Well, that's how life is. But in this game in particular, there's a lot of questions on, is this hero good? Is this hero good? If you're in a new server, all heroes are good. That's just a fact. If you have a hero that is stronger than one of the 4 stars or 3 stars that you were using, and you pull a 5-star, it's automatically good. Well, like I said, this is going to be it for me today. If you liked it, hit that like button to show your support. Comment down below anything you want to see, more advice, tips, tricks, anything that you can think of, anything you want to see, like me on a new server doing something stupid. I'm more willing to do that. Words are tough right now. I woke up not too long ago. Can you tell? Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.